We back with an NBA second round conference semifinals recap. We're going to get straight to the Western Conference. The number 1 seed Thunder matched up with the 4th seed Lakers. In game 1, Oklahoma set the tone with an easy 108-90 blowout. And I say easy because we know Shea good for a good 25-30. But Shea didn't even need to do the heavy lifting for them to get over. He finished the game with 18 points, but Chet Holmgren went 24 points with 12 rebounds and 3 blocks. And backup guard AJ Mitchell was stinging the Lakers off of the bench. He ended up with 18 points, and the bench was just overall too much for the Lakers to deal with, especially with your best player out the game. That was pretty much it for game 1. Game 2 it came around, and there really wasn't much of a difference. Listen, OKC already had the deepest bench in the league at the beginning of the season, but when they acquired Jared McCain before the trade deadline, they became even more deep. I don't know how Philly let him go for pretty much nothing. AJ Mitchell had another great game. He went for 20 and 6 off the bench, and Jared McCain went for 18 points too. The bench scored almost 50 total points, and any team that can do that is obviously going to have an advantage. 6 players scored double-digit points. Game 3 came around, and there was still no word on Luka. And Bron and AR trying to carry the load didn't really go well. Game 3, they combined for 12 for 32 shooting. Can't win like that. We might as well call this the AJ Mitchell game because he was balling. He had a career-high 24 off the bench with 10 assists and 3 steals. Nah, he's a real bucket, and he just made himself a lot of money in this series.
AJ can do everything. What can he do? Even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander reacted.
Game 4 was the most competitive game of the whole series. The Lakers had the lead for a while, but then OKC went on a 17-0 run, and that changed the momentum. SGA had been quiet the whole series for real, but he came alive with 35 in Game 4. LeBron, Austin Reeves, and Hachimura combined for 76, but they still couldn't get it done. And AJ Mitchell had another career night with 28. Just look at the cooking.
The defense in front from Smart. He'll put up the J, hit it.
What I learned is LeBron at 41 can play the number 1 option only against a few teams, and OKC is not one of them. They got too many weapons, and think about it, they second best player wasn't even playing. OKC is just a complete team through and through, from the stars to the role players. The T-Wolves had the Spurs, and nobody knew if Ant-Man was going to be clear to play before game 1. He had just missed a few games from a hyperextended knee, but he let everybody know he was back. This was for sure a good one. Like, it didn't have no dull moments from start to finish.
Shot off. Watch how he starts backpedaling as soon as he shoots it. That's like Griffey.
Wembanyama broke the NBA playoff record for blocks with 12.
Like he's not there. Go ahead. Nope. Set up for the block. That's what I used to do with the little kids when I was older. Hit the stair, and then some defense by Victor Wembanyama.
This game came all the way down to the wire.
Comes down to perhaps this. Off the heel. Rebound.
And Wemby. He said go. No timeout coming.
Champagny stepped back for 3.
And Minnesota pulled it off. Game 2 was the complete opposite, and the Spurs, they got revenge on them by beating them at home by 38. And that really set the tone for the rest of the series. Everybody was clicking.
Wemby to start the game, he's at 2 scores, and there's his first lob of the series.
Wemby's right there, and he's just pumping this crowd up.
Game 3 was here, and it had bought us a masterclass from Wemby.
It's Castle and Wemby.
For them to be able to roll, ain't worry about the next game. They haven't come out with that same intensity and energy in this one.
Wembanyama working. San Antonio 9-17 from the floor.
Rudy Gobert is a great defender, but he had no answer to that equation. Game 4 had a lot of drama, and I'm about to show y'all why real quick.
There's that. Oh, that's ooh. That's a problem for the Spurs.
Yeah, that's going to be a flagrant one. That's going to be upgraded.
The criteria for a flagrant foul. There is a possibility that's a 2.
Wemby went John Jones, and he got ejected for the rest of the game. Obviously, with Wemby not being there, the paint was more open. And the Wolves, they took advantage of that. Ant-Man had a great game and scored 16 of his 36 points in the 4th quarter and brought the series to a 2-2 tie.
Going right again for a catch two.
The league looked at the elbow that Naz Reid took from Wemby and decided that he didn't need no suspension, so that means Wemby was back. He showed why he was missed.
Worked inside, hits Wembanyama trying 3 again. Wembanyama from the outside, ball in his hands alive.
He says, I'll be here all night. Don't worry about it. Big smiles, and then here comes the
2. And the veteran 8th-year man Reed is in. Wemby 3, as Wembanyama has the ball a lot and is doing a lot. Castle right back to him, feeling it. Wembanyama!
Wemby finished the game with 27 and 17 boards. Six-man Keldon Johnson scored 21 off the bench, shooting 8 for 11. Game 6 was an elimination game for Minnesota, and they just came out flat. I'm going to keep it short and simple. They got blown out by 30 points on their home floor. Stephon Castle led the way with 32 points and 11 assists.
The runners and the floaters. Oh! He was himself again. Loud, Boys 9. Up ahead. Lob it. Bryant can fly. Hammer jam. It is all Spurs right.
Spurs took care of them without even needing to go to 7. We on to the Eastern Conference. The 1 seed Detroit Pistons played the 4th seed Cleveland Cavaliers. Pistons started off the game hot. Cade and Tobias fought off Cleveland to get the game 1 win. Cade went for 23 and Tobias went for 20.
Much more aggressive offensively. Cunningham's domain. Shovel. Cunningham attacks. Cunningham floats. Harris going to go to work. Cross. And floats it home. And he'll dribble it out at Little Caesars Arena.
Game 2 was pretty similar to Game 1. Detroit defense was their formula. Cavs shot horrible from 3. 7 for 32. You're not going to win games like that. Cade led the way with 25 and 10 on 50% shooting to take Game 2.
Cunningham. Oh, nice heading. Cunningham. It's in and out. Cunningham fading and hitting. Mobley to a cutting shooter. Swatted. Cunningham loses Strus. Cunningham.
Game 3 in Cleveland had to go back on the road to play at home. Donovan Mitchell, he showed up in Game 3 and he had a game-high 35 points. Cade Cunningham had himself a night too. He posted a 25-point triple-double, but it was James Harden who played the clutch role at the end of the game.
He's got 12 tonight. Dancing on Harris. Harden on the drive. Step away Harden. Bullseye! Cunningham drive. Cunningham gets upstairs. Wants it. The cross. He lost him. Harden. Cunningham. 3-ball. The beard cook. 30 seconds left. Harden dancing on Harris. Harden step back 3. Splash.
That felt like a heavyweight fight. In Game 4, where the Cavs had a chance to even out the series, they turned up. Donovan Mitchell started off the game slow, but in the second half, he turned it up a notch. He had 39 points in 2 quarters, which tied the NBA playoff record. Cleveland went on a 24-0 run at one point in the 3rd quarter. The whole team was just in a flow state.
Mitchell attacks. The swipe. The finish. Cunningham is accepting the defensive challenge. Mitchell step back. Raindrops.
The series was tied, and Game 5 was back in Detroit, where they had been hard to beat at. Cade had to do the heavy lifting. This was a down-to-the-wire type of game. Pistons held the lead for most of the game, and they was up by 15 at one point. Late in the game, Cleveland went on a 13-0 run and made it a serious game. They rallied and took it to OT, and that's when the momentum seemed to slow down for Detroit, and they pretty much controlled them in OT and pulled it away. Cade finished with 39, 9, and 7, and they still ain't get a win. Donovan Mitchell and James Harden combined for 51 points, and this was the story of OT.
First of the game. He was 0 for 7 on the turnover. Strus comes up with it. Inside to Mitchell, banks it home. And the Cavs go up by 7. The Cavs will shoot timeout.
Game 6, with their backs against the wall, Detroit just came out and outworked Cleveland. Cleveland could not buy a bucket. They shot 39% as a team, and y'all know the results of that. It was just a complete team effort. Everybody showed up and played their part for Detroit. Paul Reed made a real big difference off of the bench, and Cavaliers ended up getting beat 115 to 194 when they had a chance to close it out at home.
He did, and Harris will go.
Game 7 came, and the Pistons looked terrible at home from start to finish.
28-22 Cleveland. 2 seconds, 1 second. Mitchell banks it in. A spider bite at the end of the quarter.
It seemed like nobody in Detroit showed up to play. Now, one player cracked over 20 points, and Duren and Cade combined for 20 points total. And for a team, they shot 30 for 85. 29-point loss went down as the worst home game loss in Game 7 history for the Pistons. And last but not least, the Knicks vs. Philly series. Just being honest, man, the Knicks, they beat the sleeves off of Philly the first game. It really wasn't even competitive. Jalen Brunson scored 35. Philly had no answer. Just look at some of these buckets.
Brunson goes and find a way to get some stops. Brunson makes that typical. 4 of the 5 starters in double figures for Philly. Brunson gets the Bridges. 3 seconds left. Brunson got it.
3 on Edwards for Philly.
and they scored 137 to Philly's 98. Yeah, it was one of those nights for New York. Game 2 had came around, and Joel Embiid was still dealing with lingering injuries from the previous series, and he was out game 2. And it seemed like the 76ers played better ball when he was out. It was a single-digit margin the whole game. Down the stretch is when it starts shifting for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson took over in the clutch like usual, and Cat pretty much did his thing as far as playmaking and scoring, going for 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists.
Falling away, puts it up. That's gonna clock at 4. Bridges puts it up, puts it in. Win their 5th straight game in these playoffs.
Game 3 and Joel Embiid was listed in the starting lineup again. And it's weird because as talented of a player as Embiid is, it seemed like with him playing in this series, things weren't as competitive as it was when he wasn't playing. It could be due to chemistry. It was a competitive Game 3, but Jalen Brunson knew how to keep the crowd quiet for the most part.
Robinson, who replaces Towns out with those 4 fouls. Brunson forcing the action. 12 points, just 2 rebounds. Brunson stops, pops. Towns. Brunson lets it fly. Money. Trailing Brunson. Drives it.
New York would only need one more for a sweep. Game 4 was in Philly, and it turned into a crime scene pretty quick. The game was over by halftime. The Knicks made a playoff record 25 threes.
Nice fake from Shamet, fires away, hits us. Clarkson, Shamet, no hesitation. 3 games, 17 points, 6 assists, a crossover, the drive, inside, reverse, he's got it. Sweet move from Jalen Brunson, deflected by McBride. Brunson a 3, bang! It's a 29-point lead.
They beat them 144 to 114, and 76ers took their second 30-point loss in 4 games. Let me know who y'all think going all the way.